So I'm going to take a moment to talk about mindfulness and meditation and what does that mean and why should you consider practicing them. So in its simplest terms, to me, meditation is simply a way of training the mind and a way of getting to know one's own mind. So for me, it's like practicing mental discipline. And the reason that we do this, there are many of them. So when you get to know what's happening in your mind, you can start to create a space between stimulus and response. And what that means is that you have more choices over how you react to everything in life. And also you can start to reshape your perspective on things. For example, if something upsets you in some way, say you're in traffic, you have many options as to how you could react. Sometimes we just react without thinking about the consequences or other options or if that's the best course of action. And then later on, we're unhappy with our decision. So this can cause a lot of complication and a lot of unhappiness in life. When you start to get to know your own mind, you can start to recognize I've become angry, or I've become upset, or I've become sad, or I've taken something personally. And you can then proceed with more mindful, perhaps more wise, hopefully, ways of dealing with these situations. Or you can start to reshape your perspective. This other person in traffic is having a crisis. I don't know what their crisis is, but you start to have empathy for those who you see becoming upset around you because you start to recognize why you get upset about things. For example, another really wonderful benefit of meditation is you start to learn how to stay in the moment, and this can be extremely uncomfortable for us. So if we sit for a while, what you'll notice is maybe at first you'll just notice how much your body aches. So there's tightness in your back, or there's tightness in your shoulders, or you're breathing oddly, or there's pains in various areas. So what we typically do, our first instinct is to try and get away from that discomfort. So meditation is a way of training yourself to stay even when things get uncomfortable, instead of trying to escape or trying to numb. So this is a simple way of trying to work with things that are perhaps habits that you would prefer not to have. So if you have trouble staying in the moment over dinner with a loved one, and every 5 seconds you're pulling out your phone or your mind wanders off and you're not really listening to what they say, this is going to help you recognize when you're behaving that way and actually enjoy being at dinner with your loved one, for example. Another thing that this will help you recognize is what ways do you try to escape, or what ways do you try to numb? And many of us have one term to use is addictions, right? So you'll have an addiction to something because it numbs or because it distracts. It helps you escape. It helps you get away from that discomfort so that you don't have to look at it or deal with it, and therefore you're not working with it or helping it go away, maybe in a more healthful way. So those addictions can be anything. Sometimes they're actually substances. They can also be social media or technology. You can escape into novels. You can escape into movies. You can escape into your own imagination and just space out. You can be a workaholic. You can be addicted to food. You can find various ways of escaping, of distracting, and of numbing instead of dealing with the feelings or the sensations or the issues that are bothering you that could ultimately help them go away in the long run, so that you're stronger. And this is kind of an inner strength that we're talking